Like analytics.
That's obvious.
Okay, are you here? Yay! Can everybody hear me?
I don't know if they can. It's not showing up on us. I don't know if they can. Showing up on us. I don't know if they can.
That was disastrous. Okay. Well,
That was disastrous.
Okay. Can you get headphones? Okay. Okay. All right. Are we there? All right. Great. Yay. All right. Thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you, family and friends. Yay. I am broadcasting from my house. This is not how I would ideally like to do a launch party, but I love this in another way because then all the people that live far away can also attend. And so I think that I am going to do a digital launch party now that I've figured out how to work it every time I do a launch party so that all my family and friends who live far away will also be able to attend. So welcome, welcome. I am so excited for you guys to be here. I'm going to be asking questions. You guys can type in the chat. And yay, Lisa, I saw you guys show up. And yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Summer of Sundaes, which is my new release. I'm sitting here in front of, this is my plot arc that I use. Sometimes that's like an extra little thing. I was trying to figure out where to go. Oh well. And yeah, we've got some exciting things coming up. Tonight, I think what we're going to do is we're going to read some excerpts and ask some questions. You guys can ask questions in the feed. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how the book came to be. So yay. All right. Shout out. Yay. All right. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was a little bit about myself in case there's somebody here who doesn't know who I am, but I am Amy Ziegler. I am a traditionally published author. I write clean, funny romance right now, mysteries, and we'll probably start doing different types of things in the future. So be looking for those. And if you feel comfortable, you can write in a hello and say hi. We'll probably be doing the drawings from the chat. So if you're here and you want to say hello, that's kind of how I'm going to judge, how I'm going to pick these prizes. So super excited about tonight. So the first thing I wanted to talk about and give away are these awesome book bags. I had these made. This one is left over. It's all backwards. At least I think I can see it backwards. Maybe you guys can actually see it forwards. Okay, good. So these I had made, and these are left over from the Swiss Mishap. So if you want to have a book club meeting for the Swiss Mishap or any of these books, I will send these to your book club groupies. And if you are the one that sets it up, I will send you a shirt with the same saying on it as a person who organizes the event. So woohoo! So tonight I'm going to give away some of these. I also will have some that are coming that have the sayings on them, and those will be the ones that I mail out, not the Swiss Mishap, unless you want the Swiss Mishap ones, just because I love the chocolate ones anyway. But I do have some with the tagline for Summer of Sundaes. And the tagline is, "Those who love longest love best." So we'll go through and yeah, we'll do a door prize. The only qualification for this door prize is that you have to be in the US. I cannot ship or give out prizes of like any kind of value overseas just because they have different tax laws, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm not sure how to deal with that. So yeah, so if you want to participate in this drawing, then you need to respond with one of your favorite ice cream flavors. So if you want to participate in the first drawing, ice cream flavors. And then Anna is going to put your names in a hat and pull them out. She's just over there. So yeah. Oh yes, can you buy a Swiss Mishap shirt? Yes, I will be probably opening a merch store and getting those out in the future for sure. And I will be selling them probably at the Buda Mercantile in town as well. So that's super exciting. So, okay, we got Lisa Anderson with mint chocolate chip. Do you need favor? You can put it in that bucket. All right. Okay, Alyssa Boats, Rocky Road. All right, chocolate chip. All right, awesome. And Anna's going to be working on that, and I'll start moving to the next thing. Let's see. I've got my little notes down here so I can stay on track. Yeah. So, and then if I don't know who you are, it looks like so far I know everybody here, so I can get those to you easily. But I was just saying, if somebody doesn't know like who I am, they don't feel comfortable like sharing their information over here, I was just gonna say you can reach out to me on social media and just say, hey, I was the one that won the prize or whatever. But so far, everybody who's playing, I know who you are. So that's really great. Okay, so I wanted to share a story. Anna's working on the drawing. So I've got, do you see, she's got the chat list over there. So what I've got, the story behind the story. So a couple of years ago in 2015, Anna and I did a little trip up to Alaska. My parents, we used to live there in my childhood. I spent a lot of time of my formative years in Alaska, like my grade school years, like 3rd to 6th grade. And my dad loved to fish. And so we would drive down the Kenai River. It was like bumper to bumper, trailer to car trailer, and boat trailer to boat trailer. And we would go down and we would spend like 10 days at a time. And my dad would save up all of his sick leave, all of his personal time leave for July and August, and we would sit there on the banks of the river and just fish or boat fish on the Kenai. And it was amazing, an incredible childhood. Sometimes we'd go over to Deep Creek and go clam digging. I think that is what it's called. I don't know. I was 12, so who knows? And oh, Anna says I have to slow down. And I just had this incredible, wonderful childhood filled with so many experiences. We caught fish as big as a 3rd grader, you know, and those kinds of experiences leave an impression on you, on me, and left an impression on me. And so, oh, hey, my Uncle Sterling just popped in. Hi, Sterling. And so this childhood was so, I feel like it was a little idyllic, like just being able to be a kid, playing outside. The sun was up until late, and camping. My mom, that was the only time my mom bought junk food. Like we were allowed to have 1 soda, and so we got 1 soda a day for our camping trips, and we would buy 1 like bag of chips for the whole family for the day, and 1 like bag of cookies or a sweet treat for the day. And we would just run outside and play. And those were good memories for me. And I knew somewhere in my heart that one day I was going to write a book that featured Alaska as a setting because I just love it so much. So then fast forward, so 2015, my parents go up, and sometimes they go up for the summer and they'll just stay all summer long fishing and hanging out with old friends. And so one summer when Anna was almost 12 years old, yeah, we decided that she and I would take a trip to, hold on. And my childhood. And so we went up in 2000. We saw the first day down on the Kenai, we saw a bear. I had never seen a bear. And we were driving over a bridge, and I happened to look down and I saw a bear fishing right there. And I was like, stop the car, you gotta go get this bear. And so my mom got out and she took pictures. And then actually the next day we were fishing not far from that spot. And these men across the way, they were in chest waders and fishing from the bank across the way. And it sounded like they were yelling, Wilbur. And I was like, what? Wilbur? Are they trying to get somebody 30 yards most? There is a bear over there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have my daughter here, my parents, my sister was there. And so I'm reeling in my fishing pole and I'm trying to get away from the bear as fast as possible. And I try to step over this log and my hook gets stuck in the log. And so I was like, I couldn't get over the log. And I pulled it out and I, ran over there. And then I took the picture for social media because my life is not worth social media likes. Okay. So we went down on the same trip. We went down with my dad. He wanted to go to Seward and go deep sea fishing. I think on Resurrection Bay. I think it's called deep sea fishing there. I don't know. Hopefully my dad's not listening in. If he is, he can weigh in what that's technically called. But they wanted to go fishing out on Resurrection Bay. And he had a friend put pictures after this on social media just because I feel like I'm telling so many stories and so many reference stories that I have to share pictures. So be watching for those. So I went down and we were like, the boys got up at the crack of dawn. It was my dad and somebody else. And I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do all day? Seward is a small, small town. And we were just like, okay, so maybe we can go get our nails done, go get a pedicure or something. So we looked up and there is not a single nail place in Seward. And so we're like, oh man, what are we going to do? So we already had planned on going to the museum. They have some museums and they have some other stuff down there that we were planning on going with my dad. We wanted to do something that we could just do as the girls for this kind of special time. And so I was like, hey, there's a little ice cream shop. And so we all decided to go down, and it is the most idyllic ice cream shop. And I will post pictures of this on social media. It is, it has the black and white floor. It has the little ice cream tables. And so we went there, and it was a fudge and chocolate, cute little store. And so I have pictures of us there. But in my mind, it made an impression on me. And I was like, I love this cute little store. It was so adorable. So when I write this story, that is what I'm picturing. Okay. So fast forward a little bit. Last summer, I think, my publishing company, the Wild Rose Press, decided they wanted to do a new series. Now, how they do series is they said, we want to have a uniting theme through all of the books that are written, but everybody writes their own genre, their own characters, and they can pick out their own locale. And the editor-in-chief said, we want to do a series based on ice cream and water. So your title has to have some kind of ice cream in it. Okay. Hey, Anna, I need you to, some people trying to get on and they can't quite get on. Oh, gosh. And said she can't reply. I want to see what that's all about. And so I was like, oh, well, the best place that I ever had ice cream, and it was close to the water, was this cute little shop in Seward, Alaska. And so that's how I came up with the setting, and that's how, here, she's calling. I'm going to take that call. Yeah, thanks. So that was how I picked the setting. And then I was like, okay, I need a story. What kind of story is going to go along with this? How old are the protagonists? Who are going to be the characters? How the setting? And I decided I wanted it to be a failing ice cream shop because I happen to know that in Alaska, they eat the least amount of ice cream per capita of anywhere in the United States. So I thought, okay, if she has a failing ice cream shop, that would make for some interesting dynamics. And then I was like, well, what if not just struggling? What if something is threatening her ice cream shop? And then I was like, what if it's the guy that she liked and he's threatening her shop, but he didn't know it? And I was like, ooh, that could be interesting. That has a lot of conflict parents in that situation, in that setup. And so you characters. And I said, okay. And so she is the one that came up with the names Brahms and Bailey. So I thought that was super cute. And I was like, okay. And we came up with a backstory for Brahms. It's not in the book, but we decided that his dad, who was super wealthy, loved the San Francisco orchestra and has a plate there with his donation. You know how some of those places, they have like so-and-so donated so much money, so they get a chair named after them, or get a plaque on the wall. So we thought that Brahms' dad, Robert Kingsley, really loved to do music, or loved music, composer. Now that's a backstory, but we knew what the story was. And so I dedicated this book to Anna, actually, because she is the one that had some of those experiences with me. She was there in that little ice cream shop. She, the pictures that I took there, you know, she's in there. And then she also played a big part of helping pick out the characters and picking out the names. So yes, the book is dedicated to my daughter. And she just holds a special place in my heart, and as well as the story coming to be. So let's see, what are some other things I wanted to say about this? Oh, when I write a story, I like to think, when I first started writing, because I started writing about 10 years ago, and I think a lot of writers, when they start out, just start out and they have a knack for storytelling. Like, we've read a lot of books and we kind of have an intuitive sense. But I started reading some plotting books, like how to plot. And one of the books talked about this character journey that everybody must make in these stories. So, excuse me, pardon me, so that we can have a very satisfying ending. So it's not just two people frolicking through it, but that we really truly have kind of a moral tale, you know, something that they learn, some kind of growth to them. And so I had to sit down and really think about both Bailey and Brahms and their journey that they were going to take in this scenario, in the story, and try to make that work and make sure that every scene in the story aligned with that character work, and make sure that every scene in the story aligned with that character growth and that character journey. So I was really excited to bring them to life. So let's see, Anna, did you do our drawing yet? Okay, so last call. If you'll have to, if you didn't get in on this last one, we'll do another thing. So Anna's gonna pull out here. You can bring them over here, and I can pick one. She's actually got a hat here. So this is for, and you can choose whether or not you want a Summer of Sundays one, or if you want the chocolate one. Oh, George Ziegler with your Rocky Road. Do you want to? Let us know in the chat which one you want. Should we pull out another one? George, thanks for coming. George, are you still here? Just type in there which kind of bag you want, and maybe, okay. And Heather Johnson, let me know, Heather, if you want a chocolate bag or if you want one of the Summer of Sunday bags. Thanks. Okay, so I wanted to do a reading, just the first section of the book. Here we go. So now I'm just going to write, or I'm going to write. Clearly, I'm writing too much. I just wanted to read the first couple of pages. I also wanted to let you know that I have finished the audio recording of both the Swiss Mishap and what? Yeah, it doesn't matter what their flavors were. I just wanted to know. Okay. Yeah, this doesn't matter. Was that an amazing coincidence? Both of those people like chocolate. That's kind of freaky. Okay, so
that's not freaky.
It is a little strange. Like, it's an amazing coincidence.
Like
I guess chocolate. A lot of people like chocolate. Okay, Anna says a lot of people like chocolate. I actually don't really like chocolate ice cream that much, but yes. So I just wanted to let you know that I have finished recording and editing the Swiss Mishap. So it is coming soon. And I finished recording, and I am halfway through the editing for Summer of Sundays. So if you like audiobooks, be looking for those. I am super excited because I read them myself. And so it kind of, I don't know, lends a certain kind of, dramatic interpretation, which I studied theater for 10 years. So I love doing that kind of stuff. So, okay, so now I'm going to read to you chapter 1, just a little, like 3 pages of the first chapter of Summer of Sundays. I have news. The door to Bailey's ice cream shop pinged when Frances Waterman burst through. With the breath of Seward's salty sea air, Bailey Madison slapped the covers of her paperback closed. Uh-oh, caught. Frances's shoulders slumped. Oh, not another slow day. The crinkled edges of her eyes squinted. Are you reading a novel? Bailey's belly burned. No. With flaming cheeks, she tucked the book behind the cash desk. Usually, after a few hours in the store, she acclimated to the sweet, milky aroma of fudge and churned ice cream. But after the breath of Alaskan spruce, the scent of vanilla and chocolate overpowered her. Frances brushed back her gray hair and placed hands on her hips. Come on, I saw it. What you reading? Hesitating, Bailey drew out the paperback, opening it to where she stopped. My cousin's recent release, Revenge on the Riviera. It made the bestseller lists in January. Honey, it's June. Frances placed her purse on the counter. 6 months ago is not a recent release. I know, I've been busy until now. Unfortunately, her 7/8, that's such a funny, okay, of a degree in business from the University of San Francisco did not automatically make Bailey's ice cream shop a smashing success. The place was a ghost town at 7 p.m. She placed a finger on the words of the page. I'd love for a guy to say this to me. I couldn't confess the depths of my love, for it would overpower you like a wave, tow you under the water, and drown you. Sighing, Frances shook her rain cloud gray hair. Guys don't talk like that. Bailey peeled her feet off the floor with sticky resistance. But wouldn't it be great if they did? She snagged the waffle mix off a shelf behind the counter. Despite the slow day, she needed to make cones. The humidity of nearby Resurrection Bay melted cones quicker than customers bought and ate them. She frowned at the last 2 soggy waffle cones she tossed in the trash. Arching an eyebrow, Frances patted the book. You need a life. I have a life. I run an ice cream shop. She pointed around the shop, decorated with antiques her grandparents collected and cafe tables with mismatched metal chairs. The scent of sugar enveloped her. 10 tubs of ice cream sat in one glass-cased side. Fudge filled the next. Frances frowned. You have an ice cream shop in Alaska, a state where people per capita eat the least amount of ice cream. Straightening her stuffed ice cream hat, Bailey shot Frances a poisoned glare. But as her best friend was also her landlord, she couldn't hold grudges. And, Frances drew breath, you need a man so you'll realize men aren't all sentimental and goofy like those in romance books. Frances snatched the book off the counter. She held up the book and shook her head. This is why you live in a state where men outnumber women 10 to 1 and you can't get a man. I'm not good with guys. Bailey's face caught fire, burning to the tips of her ears. The last guy she even had a date with stood her up. Brahms Kingsley. Even thinking his name tickled her stomach. But their encounter happened 3 years ago. No doubt he'd moved on. You need a local man. Frances shook a finger. Bailey nodded to the parade of men in flannel shirts and waiters smelling of fish bait, mosquito repellent, and, if he was successful, fish guts passing the large painted glass picture window. Guys around here go to the bait shop, not the sweet shop. These men were testosterone-heavy, gunslinging, grunting hunters and fishermen with big reels, big boats, and even bigger egos. Frances pursed her lips and cocked a hip. Careful, my husband is one of those men of whom you speak. In addition to owning her small shop, Frances and Jack Waterman ran a fishing guide business, taking anyone willing to pay big bucks deep-sea fishing across Resurrection Bay, the gateway to Kenai Ford's National Park. Bailey mixed batter and poured a measured amount onto the sizzling iron. I just want a guy with culture, class, and refinement. With a scowl, Frances placed her hands on her hips. Honey, you're living in the wrong town and certainly the wrong state. Seward was not the smallest town along the Alaskan western coast, but it was the prettiest. Towering mountains along the harbor dipped the toes of its foothills right into the glacier blue water of the bay. Bailey's heart sank as she slapped the waffle iron down the waffle iron lid. I can't leave Seward. Grandma needs me, and I have to run the shop. Gran's health issues not only tied her to Seward and Alaska, but occupied all of Bailey's time outside the ice cream shop. So what's your news? Oh yes, Frances bit her lip. I hate to be the one to tell you. She squinted her black eyes. Jack's not renewing your lease. So from there, they talk about who is coming in to take over the lease, and it is none other than Brahms Kingsley. And she doesn't know that he's coming. She just knows that it's his family's, his corporation that is going to need her storefront. So now I'm going to read a little bit from Brahms' point of view, and then actually let's do another giveaway, shall we? All right. Let's talk about my alliteration. Oh, thanks. Now I know what the French will sound like. Okay, great. So let's see. Let's do another giveaway. I have advanced reader copies of August Blues. Now, these are all digital, so I would need your email, but I don't think that's going to be a problem for everybody who's here. So if you would like to enter this section of the drawing for an advanced reader copy, it's a PDF of August Blues. You have to tell me what are some of your favorite summer activities that you like to do. Okay, and Anna will work on getting those put together. And yeah, I'm super excited to see what your answers are. So in my childhood, like I said, we went fishing, and the beach in Alaska is, August is my birthday month. I know, right? It's great. Quilting. Yeah, that's fun, Heather. The beaches in Alaska are black and sandy. They have a lot of volcanic, so it's not like these beautiful beaches that we have here in Texas, where they actually have sand and not like volcanic silt is what it feels like. So reading and swimming is what Karen says. Okay, we got that. Excellent. Okay, Anna's gonna write that one down for you, Karen. And yeah, I just really enjoyed spending time at the beach. But the beach in Alaska, you have to wear your winter coat and a pair of waders. And I do have lots of these pictures, but I don't know that there's any way I can do that here. But I will be posting pictures of Alaska, especially of our most recent trip, and you can see these black. But let's do, let's see. We got quilting. My favorite activity is swimming and spending time in the water. So that's Lisa Anderson. George says hiking and camping in the White Mountains. Yeah, George, I love the White Mountains. Like, that is that's one thing I do miss living here in Texas, is being able to go hiking in the cool mountains in the summer. Yes, I'm sorry, Heather. Yeah, you got to be patient. Like I said, I wanted to be able to show pictures, and I was kind of debating on what platform I should use for this. And I hope that this is working out pretty well for everybody. I know not a lot of my friends and family are on Facebook, because I originally was going to do it on Facebook, But then I was like, wait, half my friends and family aren't even on Facebook a lot, and that would just be weird. So you have to let me know if this worked out for you. So, all right, Anna's going to write those down, and I will go on and read the next section of Brahms' point of view. Brahms Kingsley dulled to the lulling voice of his father's chief operating officer in Kingsley Tours Inc.'s conference room on the 14th floor in Seattle, Washington. Patricia Reinstadt stood at the front of the table. We run cruise lines on every major port on the western seaboard, and now we are expanding into Alaska. The last frontier, Brahms said, mostly to himself. But Ian Parks, next to him, snickered. He could always count on a laugh for Ian. Oh, he could always count on Ian for a laugh. Sorry, Anna snickered and I looked away. I was like, oh, she thinks it's funny. Oh, I'm so glad. Pardon me, Patricia. Robert Kingsley leaned his broad chest over the polished table. Do you want to add a comment, Brahms? At his father's booming voice in the glass-enclosed conference room, he shot up straight in his chair. Heat broiled his face. His father had a dog's hearing. He heard everything and disapproved of everything Brahms said or did. Brahms shook his head. No, sir. Continue, Patricia. Mr. Kingsley glowered across the table. Ahem. We are expanding into the Alaskan market and should be finalizing paperwork this month. We need a representative to sign our lease in Seward and secure permits for the planned resort. She clicked on the slide to show projecting timelines and budgets. Brahms tuned out again. If only he'd knocked over Ian's coffee mug into his lap. At the thought of leaving to change his clothing, a perfect excuse to escape this horrible meeting, he stuffed down a smile. Brahms, startled, he shot his attention to his father. His left elbow knocked over Ian's coffee, only the results differed from his daydream. Milky brown liquid pooled under the container on the table and spread about 3 inches. Mr. Kingsley frowned. So much disapproval in his eyes. Brahms couldn't meet his gaze. The aroma of single-source, sugar-laced coffee filled the room. Jumping up, he righted the mug. Jenkins handed him a fistful of napkins. With face throbbing, he mopped up the mess. Behind him, Ian smothered a laugh. Yes. Returning to his seat, he handed off the soggy napkins to Jenkins, who landed them in the trash with a thud. I want you to represent Kingsley Tours. Mr. Kingsley's beady eyes hardened, and oversee this project for a couple of days. In Seward? Sweat pricked at his brow. Yes. A million excuses raced through his head. He bought tickets to attend a concert later this month with Ian's sister. Evelyn wasn't on his radar, but even she was better than being banished to a podunk town. What was there to do in Seward? Aware of every eye on him, he cleared his throat. If only the coffee ruined his pants. Days, sir? Usually signings were over in a blink, in and out. Mr. Kingsley lowered his brows. Resistance to another big company moving into such a small town has gained traction in Seward. Mingle with the locals, persuade the city council, and make a good impression there. Secure this deal. Prove you are capable of handling difficult situations. Yes, sir, he gulped. Prove you can do this. He didn't say it, but his tone implied, prove you can handle running Kingsley Tours. Brahms nodded. Dread grew in his stomach. He wasn't born or bred for this job. Taking over the company was supposed to be Rowan's inheritance. The thought of his older brother twisted his gut. Resolve hardened in his chest. Nothing will stand in my way of sealing this deal. A sinking feeling nearly drowned him as the meeting drew to a close. So that's a little bit of Brahms and his background. From that, you can kind of see that he doesn't have like a really awesome relationship with his father, and he has to prove to his father that he can ship, and how he's really torn about what he has to do in closing down Bailey's shop. So Yeah, do we want to do the drawing? Did you get them ready? All right, let's look and see what we got. Yes, is Rowan dead? Well, spoiler alert. Oh, Abby likes to read and sleep. You got it in there? Okay. Spoiler alert. Yes, Rowan has passed, and it does kind of play a part in the story. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, Rowan was supposed to be the one to inherit the business. So, all right. First one, August Blues. Heather Johnson, man, it is your night. All right, we'll do another one too, just because, and if it's George, you're gonna. Okay, Lisa Anderson, it's swimming. Yay! All right, I'll send those arcs over. It's a PDF. So I don't know that I have your guys' email. I might somewhere, but yeah, for sure, you'll have to let me know. I think I might. I don't know. I'll text you guys because you guys live close by. I can just drop those off. Are you doing an email? Yeah, I will eventually. Yeah. Okay. So I was gonna read one more selection. I know August Blues. I can't wait until August Blues comes out because there's actually a cute little story behind that one as well. I'm super excited. And that I got the arcs for that, so I'm just waiting for all the galleys to come back and corrections. So if you girls find any mistakes in that copy, let me know because I can still slip them in before final things roll out. So I love that about these arcs because they're not set in stone yet. So let me know, okay? All right, a galley. Oh, okay, let's talk a little bit about publishing for a second. So when you write a book, you usually write it in like a Word document or something like that. And since I'm an e-publisher, I don't print it out. I just email it to my publisher and she will go, how my editor works now, and I've worked with 3 different editors at the Wild Rose Press. And the other 2, they just did 3 different edits. They did a content editing. That means they looked over the story and made sure that the story was good, that there wasn't any big plot holes, there wasn't any scenes that needed to be added to explain motivations. They looked at that and they might have done some little editing here and there. But then the next edit was like a kind of like a grammar and sentence structure. So sometimes when as writers, we're in a big hurry to get ideas down. And so a lot of times I'll be like, he sat in his chair, he stood, he turned and looked at her. And so a lot of times that second edit will go back and say, instead of saying he stood, he turned, he whatever, you say standing, he did something else. So you're looking at your sentence phrasing, making sure that there aren't too many boring sentences, making sure that the words that you're using are the most powerful and impactful. So for example, some of the words that I take out of my writing will be words like was, because it's a very plain word. I will be looking for passive voice, which was it had been broken. So I'll just say it broke, or I will switch it around and say the broken piece. And then that way it's even stronger. She also, the Wild Rose Press is really sticklers on what they call stall words. And these are words that are like, she tried to open the door. You just skip that and you say, she opened the door. Another thing that they're really picky on is filter words. So the filter words would be like, she felt his arm brush up against his sleeve, right? Instead of saying she felt it, you just describe the action. His arm traced over her shoulder, right? That just brings the action just a lot more immediate and close, and it brings it into where you can have a closer point of view to that character. So what I'm describing is actually what that character is feeling, and I'm not filtering it through other words. Like instead of saying, she saw the dog crawl up on the bed, you would just say, the dog crawled up on the bed. So that's the second round of edits. And the third round of edits would be like punctuation. You want to make sure the commas are in the right place. We do a lot of Oxford commas. That's just a publishing house choice. I noticed that Harlequin, some editors do not put in the Oxford comma, which I find confusing. So it's when you do a series and you have an and before the last thing in the series. And there's also, if you join two sentences together, like I went to the store and I bought a soda, you would put a comma in between those. Yep. So in some publishing houses, just for space, ink, and everything, they just throw those out. So after those 3 edits, then what they do is they do a formatting, and that's how it's going to look on the page. That's when they cut the page in half, and it says chapter 1 starts on here, and then chapter, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5. Yeah, Oxford comma for the win! Woohoo! So I sent in my formatting things, and it looks like this, but it's on the page, and that's the formatter. And you actually, if you are going to digitally or if you're going to book publish, you have to have it put in these kind of columns. And in that edit, what I'm looking for is I will look alongside these here, and it will make sure that there isn't too many boring beginnings or similar beginnings to my paragraphs. So like if it says he all along there, then I know that I need to like have a good laugh because he. But I also need to change those up. And I will do that by saying, sometimes I'll switch the sentence around, like with a breath of fresh air, he sang the loudest tune or whatever it is, The other thing I will do is that sometimes they will have weird spacing just across here, just because it's justified on both ends. You'll have like a sentence that has like 3 words across here and then a really long word in the next place. And so what I usually do is just add a couple of more small words so it all looks the same. So it all has the even space and not like some weird spacing. Because I get some formatting things back and it's like 3 words on a sentence and they're all spaced out really weird. And it just looks really weird. Okay. So that's the editing for the formats. And then after that, they do the first galleys. Now, what galleys is they actually put it all together, and it looks like your book in digital form, with the 2 pages like this again. And what you have to do is along the side, they will put numbers like this. Here, I'll show you. So the first line in every page will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it'll go down to about, I think it's 35 on these books. And so what I'm doing is I'm looking and I will read it out loud and I will make sure that every word is right. And sometimes I miss a couple. I will have to say that in Summer of Sundays, there is 3 typos. I miss a the. I have an on instead of an of. And one other one that I found when I was doing my audiobook. But I read through it out loud as best as I could. And I went through, and anytime I find mistakes, I also, like, if repeated words are too closely together when I did the audiobooks, I noticed that it sounds weird to the ear. Reading it, it's not so bad, but listening to it. So like originally in that last bit that I read about Brahms, I actually had Jenkins handing him a handful of towels, of paper towels. And I was like, ooh, I don't like the way that sounds. So I'm going to go and I'm going to hand him a fistful of paper towels. And so that was one of the things that the changes that I made in galleys. So when I get to final galleys, it has to be good. Like, I go through and I look again and again, and I have Robert look over it. I sometimes send these to my mom because she's got a good set of eyes. And I look and see, and I listen to it, and just to see if there's any word choices. We go through 3 galleys. We do preliminary galleys, first galleys, and then final galleys. And then if I sign off on final galleys, that is what is in the book. Like, all the typos that are there are always going to be there. Like, and people are going to point them out to you too. So there we go. Is that Rob? Rob must have put that on there. Galley is a preview of the published book, formatted as it will be. Okay, so that was a very short answer to my extremely long explanation. But that's what the galley is. It's all that, the combination. to get to the point. And I think Rob's saying move on because I'm talking too much. Okay, so before I move on to the next section, we did our last drawing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, for the August Blues. Okay, I have a couple more things we're gonna give away.
I want to write down who got what.
Oh, you know what? I should. Why don't you write that down for me? You have something? Okay. August Blues goes to Lisa, and the first one was George and Heather. They get the bag and they can choose which one they want, and I'll reach out to them. There was something else I was going to tell you that I think is really funny. So in August Blues, it's about a writer, and computer versus English version. So in August Blues, she's a writer. And so at the beginning of Summer of Sundays, she's actually reading the person who is in August Blues, the main character. It's actually her book that she's reading. So I think that's kind of a funny tie-in. I didn't know at the time that Summer of Sundays was going to come out before August Blues. So you'll have to kind of catch that, and after you read August Blues and you go back and read Summer of Sundays, you'll laugh and see that little connection right there. Also, there was one more funny thing I was going to tell you. Can't remember. Okay, let's go and do the next reading, and let's do another drawing. Is there anybody here who is attending who does not have a paperback copy of either one of these books? If so, type it in the chat, and we'll enter you in for a drawing for one of these. I don't know who's all here because I can't actually see other than when they show up in the chat. So if not, then I'll skip these, because what happened is I was supposed to, okay, Lisa doesn't have Baker's Dozen. Okay, that's good. Oh, Heather doesn't have Baker's Dozen either. This is a much better cover, I think. And George doesn't have a Swiss Mishap. Okay. The reason why is because I was supposed to go to a conference at the end of September and it got canceled due to COVID. So now I have this box full of books, which I think I'm going to sell at a cute little boutique shop here. But I thought I would give away copies of these as well. You don't have a paper copy? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. It was really disappointing because usually when you go to conferences, and I was going to give a class, and oh gosh, Chris doesn't have a thing as Swiss Mishap either. Okay, Karen has both. Yes, thank you, Karen. Oh, so good. Yeah, so usually when you give a class, when you go to attend a conference, I would have given away, a copy just for people who attended my class. And so I bought like a box full of books, because a lot of times if you are part of the conference staff, you can do like a book signing afterwards and people can buy your books. So I was grossly disappointed. It is put off to 2021. So I'm hoping that all this COVID mess will be over before then, and that we'll be able to go back to life as normal. But I do love how we've been able to do things like this and be more, technologically, and, bring the distance a little bit closer to those who are able to do this. Okay, so I have Lisa Anderson and Heather don't have Baker's Dozen, and then the Swiss Mishap, Chris and George don't have it. So you want to write those up? My husband. All right. So just take these are the people that don't have. Yeah, you can just write them down and then do the drawing, and then just one of these paperback copies.
Who am I writing down for that?
Okay, it's right here. So Lisa and Heather don't have Baker's Dozen, so put those on each of one. Sorry. And then for the Swiss Mishap, Chris. All right. So let's do another reading from one of my favorite places in the book, which is called The Cute Meat. No, that's okay. You can do that. We'll do the drawing after. The Cute Meat. So what a cute meat is, and you probably noticed this in movies, but it's how the guy and the girl meet. And so what I loved about Summer of Sundays is I actually snuck in 2 cute meets because I was nervous because these were supposed to be novellas, and I just couldn't in good conscience say sense and all this stuff. And I just had a really hard time with that. And so I was like, what if, because they were really young, they were like 26. These are like college students. I was like, what if they already met beforehand? And so all of the backstory that I share in the book is all about when they met the first time. And so that gave me a creative challenge because now I had two cute meets, the first time they met and then when they meet again. So I'm going to read you the part where they meet again, first from her point of view, and then I'm going to read a little bit in his point of view, and then you guys will have to read the other cute meet on your own when you buy the book and read it. So, all right. Oops, wrong document. Okay. So earlier in here, she was, I'm going to kind of skip a little bit in this scene and just kind of read the last half of the scene. Earlier in the scene, she is doing kind of the accounting for the day, and it's not looking good. Like the numbers are not looking really great. And so she's in the back and she's just not having a good time. And so somebody at the end of the day comes into her shop. And so she is Bailey. Yes, this is, you're thinking August Blues, right? Were you thrown off? Yeah. I can read a little bit of August Blues too if you want. I have that sitting here. So excited. Okay, sorry. Okay. Be right there, she called. She threw on her ice cream hat and straightened her stained apron to greet the customer. Bailey stepped from the back room into the shop, ready to apologize. She halted at the doorway. A man read her flavor board hanging above the cases on the wall. She blinked. The man's familiar broad shoulders and dark hair speared her with memories. Raced through her. She ducked back into the office. She rested her back against the wall nearest the door. No, he couldn't be here. Bronze Kingsley couldn't be standing in. What was he doing here? What must he think of her? Did he remember what was he doing here? What must he think of her? Did he remember the girl he spent a few hours with, a few laughs, and then stood up? Maybe he wouldn't even recognize her. Or worse, what if he did but wanted nothing to do with her? Bailey closed her fist to control her trembling hands and slowed her breathing. Of all the guys in the whole world, why did he come here? Their 6-hour conversation still sang in her heart, and their kiss. She leaned her head against the wall and stared at the stained ceiling. If she lived 1,000,000 years, she could never forget their one and only kiss. Their sunset stroll down to Fort Point, overlooking the San Francisco Bay, pierced her mind. She'd only known him for a day, and yet the taste of his kisses still sent tremors up her spine. She pinched herself. She was pathetic. 3 years had passed, and she fell apart seeing him again. She couldn't face him. Maybe he would just go away. She held her breath. The bell on top of the ice cream case rang. Hello, is anyone back there? Nope, he was not going away. She straightened her shoulders and gathered her courage. How should she act? Bold and indifferent? Casual and calm? Holding out her trembling hands, she knew she couldn't pull off anything resembling calm. Her pulse beat at a super high pace. Get a hold of yourself, Bailey. With as much dignity as she could muster, she straightened her stained apron, strode into the parlor, and faced the man she fell hard for, but who spurned her. Okay, this is his point of view. When Bailey Madison's sweet face popped out of the office, Brahms dropped his jaw. A thrill pierced his heart and ran tremors all through his body. Seeing her conjured all the old feelings. The seaside stroll, the setting sun, the heart-connecting conversation, all crashed into his memory. He'd never forget their kiss. Her unexplained disappearance pinched his heart. Without a word, she vanished. Still trembling inside, he stepped closer. Bailey, Bailey, Bailey. Despite the tightening of his throat, he grinned. He vowed never to disclose how much she unnerved him. Good to see you. What was that on her head? He blinked. A bowl of felt ice cream? A smile spread across his face. Oh, this was rich. He stifled a nervous laugh with a trembling hand. Shaking his head, his words failed him. She was the last person he expected to encounter in the small ice cream shop in Seward, Alaska, in the very shop he came to close of all places. Yet there she stood, filling his eyes and giving him all the same chemical sensations. Mom's Kingsley, what are you doing here? So quickly. I'd like a sundae. He pointed to the menu board above the glass cases. Her eyes widened. She touched her hat. A blush pinked her cheeks and tinged her ears. Bailey. She pointed toward the glass enclosed shelf of fudge. Can I get you something else? A kiss, like the one we shared under the Golden Gate Bridge. Everything pierced his memory. The cawing of the gulls, the lapping of the waves, the texture of the sand under his toes, the whirling of the search and rescue helicopters overhead, her scent as he held her close, and the flutter of her breath on his cheek. What else do you have? So that is their first cute meet, but it's kind of the second cute meet of the whole story, just because they had already met once. So that was kind of fun. So I'm super excited for you guys to read that. So that happened to Orson and I. Oh, Lisa, that's fun. Oh, that's so fun. That's cool. All right. So I'm super excited that, this all has to do with ice cream and I do have, let's do the drawing for the, it's right here. Is this the first one? Baker's Dozen? All right, here we go. Baker's Dozen. Are you guys all on pins and needles? Oh, Heather, good thing you showed up, girl. Jeez. All right. I will sign your copy of Baker's Dozen and drop it off at your house. And the Swiss Mishap, let's see. Anna's going to get those ready for us. So, let's do this one. George, the Swiss Mishap, but you got to read it if I give you this book. All right, and George gets the Swiss Mishap. Woohoo! I know. This one, I will say, this one is a little bit steamier than the Swiss Mishap. Only a little bit. It doesn't show anything bad. I would consider this PG-13. So Heather, you might want to read this first before you. Anyway, you'll see. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. You did read it. That's right. You did take it because that's right. It was the other cover though, I think. All right, great. Should we do more bags? Oh, Anna's giving me the stink eye. She's getting tired of. Let's do a couple more bags, and then I will open it up for. So let's see. Oh, travel anywhere. So, but you did. Yeah, that's right. You read it on Kindle. That's right. You told me that. Okay. So, in order, we're gonna do one more bag, and then or one more drawing for a bag. So everybody, tell me if you could travel any place, right? Once after COVID is all done and we can safely travel, where would you like to go? And put that in the comments. Okay. And okay, George says he promises to read the Swiss Mishap. Very good. So tell me where you would want to travel if you could go anywhere in the world. So, and then also let me know if you want me to read a little bit of August Blues, since you guys are all sitting here and being so good. It's reached an hour, but if you want to read, I will read a little bit of August Blues if you want, but also put that in the chat. So.
I'll have it. I'm just going to reuse hers.
Oh, one of the other things I was going to tell you, Abby said she would want to go to Alaska, which is a great place. I love it. In fact, I would want to go up there. Okay, yes, and then share it with Chris and Alyssa. Yes, please do. So one of the other things that, even though I grew up in Alaska, there was still a lot of research I had to do. One of the things I had to research was yachts. Because I don't know, I've never really, I went on a cruise ship once, but never, Heather says Texas. Okay, great. Oh, George wants to go to Alaska too. England is what Karen says. I think you've got one that says Karen in here. So, so I had to do a lot of research about boats, like how the big yachts actually work. And it's okay, Heather, it's not that lame. one of my friends has never been outside of Texas. So I was like, whoa, hello. Yeah. I was like, well, Texas is a big place. So I had to do a lot of research on yachts and like what they looked like, how they worked, and like, could you really man a yacht with 2 people? And yes, actually you can. That's the least amount of people that you should safely man a yacht with. But yeah, I had to do some research on yachts and all those things. Texas is a big state. You can go and see a lot of different things. We've got the plains, we've got Eastern Texas, which is a little more like Arkansas kind of weather, or Louisiana or whatever's on the other side over there. And then you've got the beach, which we went to South Padre for the first time and I loved it. And then you've got, over there closer to El Paso where it looks like New Mexico. So it's very diverse. So, all right. And let me know if you want me to read a little bit. You guys have been so good. We've been here an hour, but if you guys want me to read a little bit of August Blues, I can read like maybe a little bit, and just as a little teaser for the next party, which should be coming up. So, all right, you ready? Put it in the hat of hats. Okay, last call. Anybody else want to weigh in on places they want to travel for another bag? So far, I've got Heather, Lisa, George, Karen, Abby. Anybody else? Okay, fold this up again because it's just easy. I know we probably could, and if the weather is nice, we might be able to do an in-person party outside. And since the weather's nice, I've got a tent and we could just sit outside and do in-person. Because my idea for this, because I sent this in back in February, I was hoping for the party that we would be able to do like an ice cream sundae party. But instead I'm sitting here talking to you in the torrential rain, right? Yeah, that would be really fun, wouldn't it? All right, these are bags. Is this what we're doing this for? Yeah, bags. Oh, and Lisa does have a pop-up tent. All right. George, you want another bag? I can give you 2 bags. Write this down. And Karen, yahoo! All right. And then did we do the Swiss mishap drawing?
Yeah.
We did? Who was the Swiss mishap? George?
Yeah.
Did you write it down?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you got Baker's dozen for Heather. All right. Oh, Alyssa says Greece. All right. Do you want to put one more in there for Alyssa?
We're just going to say Chris.
All right. We're just going to call you both Chris and Alyssa. Oh, wait. No, Chris says New Zealand. You got to do another one for Alyssa.
Fine.
Oh, that's fun. I know. I really think we need to have an ice cream party. So maybe what we can do is do a book club, and we can do an ice cream book club where we read this book and we can discuss it and do ice cream, and then, do something fun. All right. Is this going there?
Yes.
All right. And Alyssa wants to go to Greece. Greece sounds like fun. So my editor just went to Greece last year, and so. Oh, Heather. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, Heather. Oh my gosh. Okay, then I'm going to do another one because Heather's going to walk away with like all these crazy bags. Abby! Bluebell just came up with a new flavor. And Abby. So Heather and Abby. All right. If anybody else wants bags, you'll just have to have somebody in your group. You need to do a book club feature, and I will send you bags for everybody who does the book club. So if you guys want bags, do a book club, and I will also send the person who hosts it, I will send them a t-shirt and things like that. That's all that I had. I was thinking we could come up with crazy ice cream, because one of the fun things that's in the book is that she comes up with all these crazy ice cream names. I was going to do that, but I didn't think it was going to go by this much time. I mean, you just tell me are you guys ready? Are you done? Yay, the chocolate bag. All right, put chocolate bag for Karen. We can stay and we can make up funny ice cream names, or we can be done. I can read August Blues. So just let me know. Like, I only plan for about an hour worth of stuff. So you guys let me know if you guys are done. I chat some more. I feel goofy because it's just like me talking to.
No, yeah, I'm in here.
Anna's in here too, so I don't feel so silly. But I love that Bluebell and HEB, they always come up with these crazy names. And I have to admit, it is kind of inspiring. Like when I see all these funny, like the Texas two-step is like, okay, that's good. Heather, if you need to go, it's late. It's 8 o'clock here, so it's getting late. But tomorrow I will be presenting at a conference. So this has been a big weekend. I also attended a conference this weekend, which was crazy, crazy, which is why all my writer friends are like, oh, we're actually going to the writers conference. So they're having a big gala tonight, but it's kind of crazy, but crazy weekends. So, all right. If you guys want to go, we can go. I can read more of August Blues or whatever. Put it in the chat if you guys want to stay a little bit longer. Anybody who needs to go can go. Oh, you're welcome, Karen. Thank you. And anybody who lived far away, I'll mail those. And if you live close by, I'll drop them off at your house. A lot of these people, they just live close by too. Cookie dough overload. Yeah, that sounds like good. Yeah. Bye, Heather. Lisa, are you taking off too? Bye. Thanks for coming, you guys. This was a lot of fun. Sorry there's no food. I wish that we could all get together and eat. Thank you. Good night, George. Thank you so much. I'll ship off your copy. This was mishap. And your bags. Yeah, the chocolate bag. We'll do that. That'll be fun. All right. Well, I think I'm going to close out the room and be done for tonight. Thank you guys all for attending. I really appreciate your support. Go click on that Amazon link or Kobo or Barnes & Noble. I don't care what platform, but go and buy a copy of Summer of Sundaes. You'll really enjoy it, and hopefully you enjoyed coming tonight. So thank you.